The most exciting thing that has come out in the scientific literature in the past 2 years is that psilocybin stimulates neurons to grow.
Right.
That is incredible. It docks with a 5-HT2A receptor, is what serotonin uses, but psilocybin also docks with TrkB receptors that lead to proliferation of neurons. There's neurogeneration, neuroregeneration, neurogenesis, and neuroplasticity. Those are four distinct areas, and psilocin does all of those. Not as much in neurogenesis, but we have done pluripotent stem cells of humans, dosed them with psilocin in the laboratory. We have a DEA license. I have a DEA license, very, very strictly controlled. But we can actually see the proliferation of neurons compared to controls. So this is why I want to emphasize to all scientists, especially older scientists that are stuck in their wisdom, that are very comfortable with their knowledge base, and younger scientists come up with these ideas, and
You don't want to dismiss them.
yeah, is that be more circumspect, because what Dennis and Terence McKenna postulated, and I disagree with lots of Terence's ideas. Time wave zero was my total bullshit. But Terence and I were very good friends, and we laughed a lot. And that's why that spirit of camaraderie, where you can criticize someone and laugh at the same time.
Yeah.
That's a higher level of intelligence.
Well, that's also what happens when you abandon the ego, right?
Yeah.
The ego's consistently abandoned through psychedelic experiences. You're much more likely to laugh at
I think
yourself.
psilocybin is an Einstein molecule. I think the tryptamines in general are Einstein molecules. The work by Dolden is just fantastic, also associated with Johns Hopkins, the critical window. And this is why Ibogaine has gotten such traction. The critical window with Ibogaine is a long window where you're able to repattern your behavior to break addiction. With psilocybin, there's a critical window. DMT is very, very short because of the short period. The critical window typically is at the peak of the experience, and just as you're over the hump, going down. But one patient described it very, very well, who was an addict. And the patient said before the psilocybin experience, they were literally stuck in a rut, and they visually saw themselves on a ski slope, going down the ski slope again and again, stuck in the rut.
Yeah.
And then after the psilocybin, it's like someone groomed the landscape, the hill,
And they're free.
and they were free to go elsewhere.
Yeah.
And then Josh Siegel, this past year, from Washington University, published a study that specifically showed in real time dendritic branchings of neurons under the influence of psilocybin in real time. I think psilocybin, which becomes psilocin, what docks with your receptors, psilocybin is stable, psilocin is not. Psilocybin dephosphorylates into psilocin. It crosses into your receptors. It stimulates inside the nucleus of cells that cause cell division. And this is mind-boggling. I think this is why high doses of psilocybin, great for a revelatory experience, for perhaps breaking addiction, but what about the near normals? We all suffer from neurodegeneration that's age-related. Besides Alzheimer's and other forms of dementia that are toxin or disease-related, in and of itself as a disease, you could argue, age being one. But neurodegeneration is a fact of life as we age, and neuropathies occur. And then neuropathies from the constriction of the peripheral nervous system, vasoconstriction, et cetera. Psilocin is not only anti-inflammatory, but neurogenerative. And to have this coupled together, I think that the nootropic vitamins of psilocybin, as a daily consumable, is something that has a great future potential. Of course, we need to study this, but long-term clinical studies are inherently very expensive. A short time stay in a hospital for one huge event may be expensive for that day, but it's easier to design a clinical study that has a short period than a long period. I think that we're beginning to see. Now, we think about 8 million Americans consume psilocybin in 2023, according to the RAND report. What was the reduction in crime with those 8 million people? If we could have studied that.
Right.
And there are retroactive studies, analyses that show a reduction of crime associated with psilocybin use. But in real time, That's something I'm excited about. Could you reduce crime rates? And moreover, when you're immunologically, when you're depressed emotionally, you're immunologically depressed.
Yes.
And when you're happier, you're more creative, you're exercising, your immune system is upregulated.
Right.
So the community immunity from psilocybin,
Yeah.
I think, is a huge potential. There's a crossover directly between your mental, your neuroescape, and your immunological state.
Unquestionably, right? The diminishing of stress,
And this is why
profound
clinical,
benefits physiologically.
yeah,